Bridezilla demanded I pay $5,000 for her destination wedding, then called me cheap for saying no. I never thought I'd lose a lifelong friend over money, but here we are. My childhood best friend, Lauren, is getting married, and when she first told me about her dream destination wedding, I was genuinely excited for her. That excitement quickly turned into shock when I learned just how much she expected from us. Lauren had chosen an ultra-luxurious resort in the Maldives for her big day. A place so extravagant that even attending as a guest would cost around $5,000 per person, and that was just for travel and accommodations. No discounts, no group rates. Just a hefty price tag that most of us couldn't afford. But it gets worse. Lauren wasn't just asking us to cover our own costs, she expected her closest friends and bridal party to also pay for her and her fiancé's travel and stay. She framed it as a wedding gift fund and made it sound like a completely normal thing to do. I was stunned. I politely told her that while I was happy for her, this was simply too expensive for me. I assumed she'd understand. After all, we'd been friends for years and she knew I had financial responsibilities. I expected a little disappointment, maybe a "I wish you could be there" moment. Instead, Lauren flipped out. She immediately called me cheap and said that I should prioritize her once-in-a-lifetime event. According to her, if I truly valued our friendship, I would find a way to make it work. She even had the audacity to suggest that I take out a loan if necessary because, in her words, this is the most important day of my life. And I can't believe you wouldn't sacrifice for me. I reminded her that while her wedding was important, I still had rent, bills, and a life to afford. But she didn't care. She was so fixated on her dream wedding that she saw my refusal as a betrayal. She ended the conversation by saying I was ruining her wedding and accused me of being a bad friend for refusing to contribute. At first, I felt guilty. Maybe I was being unreasonable? Maybe I should try harder to be there for her? But the more I think about it, the more I realize that her expectations are completely unrealistic. I don't know how our friendship can recover from this. Is there a way to salvage our friendship? I need advice. Update. After my argument with Lauren, I reached out to the other bridesmaids to see if they were also struggling with the cost. To my surprise, every single one of them admitted that they couldn't afford it either. They had all been too scared to say anything because Lauren had been pushing the idea so aggressively, making it sound like a non-negotiable part of the wedding. The moment I told them how she reacted to my refusal, they started rethinking everything. One by one, they started backing out. Each of them messaged Lauren privately to let her know that the cost was just too much. And that's when Lauren completely lost it. She sent a long, dramatic message to our group chat, accusing us of being selfish, ungrateful, and terrible friends. She said she was deeply disappointed in all of us and that she had always dreamed of a wedding where her closest friends would stand by her side, no matter the cost. Then, she went into full guilt trip mode. She started saying things like, if the situation were reversed, I'd do this for you in a heartbeat. Which is 100% false. Lauren once refused to come to my birthday dinner because she thought the restaurant was too pricey. It didn't stop there. She doubled down, saying that we were obligated to help pay for her and her fiancé's expenses because what are bridesmaids for if not to support the bride in every way? At this point, most of us are done. Her entitlement is beyond belief. Final update. Things got worse. Reddit. Lauren's fiancé, Mark, had no idea what was going on. Up until this point, Lauren had told us that Mark was completely on board with the idea of guests contributing to their wedding costs. In fact, she made it sound like this was his idea and that he fully expected us to pay for them as a gift. That was a complete lie. When Mark finally found out, he was furious. He had absolutely no clue that Lauren had been pressuring her friends and bridal party to foot the bill. She had told him that we all volunteered to contribute and were thrilled to help them have the wedding of their dreams. Mark was so shocked and disgusted by Lauren's behavior that he confronted her in front of her family and demanded to know why she had lied. She tried to downplay it, saying it wasn't a big deal and that she had simply misunderstood what people were willing to do. But Mark wasn't buying it. He was so upset by her entitlement and manipulation that he canceled the wedding on the spot. A week later, after having time to really think things through, he made an even bigger decision. He broke off the engagement completely. Apparently, this wasn't the first time Lauren had shown manipulative and entitled behavior. But this situation was the final straw for him. He realized that if she was willing to lie to him about this, what else had she lied about? So now, instead of a lavish wedding in the Maldives, Lauren has no wedding, no fiancé, almost no friends. I'd feel bad, but honestly, she did this to herself.